What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Post-Gazette Pirates show presented by FanDuel. My name's Colin Beasley. I'm here with my colleague and Pirates co-beat writer, Jason Mackey, coming to you live on a Tuesday morning. Jason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Heck of the Game 7 of the ALCS last night, huh?
Yeah. Oh, my
George
goodness.
Springer. I loved every bit of that. That was fun.
Yeah, we're here today to talk about the Pirates infield, part 2 of our 5-part series going over various Pirates positions. We talked about the outfielders last week, talking about the infielders today, catchers and DH later this week, and starting pitching in the bullpen next week. But I did want to ask you a little bit about that Blue Jays game. How, just as a baseball fan, as a baseball journalist, what were your takeaways from that?
I mean, how could you not be enthralled by all of it? I don't like that atmosphere at Robert Rogers Center is just incredible. It's an entire country, and then the drama with George Springer and the decision to, my goodness, man, I don't even know where to start. I thought it was a fantastic game, a fantastic culmination of a series. I'm happy for the Blue Jays. I think it spells some doom or negativity or whatever for the World Series. Like I was, before we hopped on here, I was working on a column about, big markets, big spenders, basically they're the only ones with access to the World Series or real competition. But, relative to last night, I just thought it was an incredible baseball game back and forth. And for a while, you thought it was Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez were going to be the heroes in that one. And then all of a sudden seventh inning, things changed. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. It was an unbelievable game. And yeah, we can go into money talk and salary cap and all of that, but the stakes of that game, you could tell it was an elimination, but it was an elimination game, but it was more than that. It was the Blue Jays trying to get to their first World Series in 32 years, Mariners trying to get to their first World Series ever. It was incredible stakes, and you could tell that mattered. That was a more meaningful game than average. It was just really, really cool to see.
And a good entry point, by the way, for our friends at FanDuel, sportsbook.fanduel.com if you're interested. But the Blue Jays are plus 184, the Dodgers minus 220. That's how it opened, and that will get going on Friday.
That's exactly what I was setting up too. Yeah.
Sorry, I jumped in front. I thought I was doing a good thing by
you did
referencing FanDuel.
You did. I'm glad we're on the same page here. But yeah, let's now that we've talked about our friends at FanDuel, let's talk a bit about the Pirates infield. It was a group that there were some positives in 2025. There were definitely a lot of negatives. Just overall, what were your thoughts on where the Pirates infield stood in 2025?
I mean, not nearly enough. I thought it was largely disappointing, Colin. I thought we were going to get more than we did. We saw a giant change with them trading Ke'Bryan Hayes, and I don't question that trade. I think it was the right trade. I think there's a lot of questions going into next season, which we're going to get to. I know that's kind of a generic answer, but I just thought there left a lot to be desired. I expected to learn more on the left side of the infield. I'm not sure we know anything. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, as we unpacked last night, was an interesting story to me. Somebody that had a lot of great hopes for, especially early on. And I'm not sure it was the season he wanted or anybody else wanted. I thought it, kind of left me wanting more. I think they defended well. But if I'm going to look at any place where, it was offensively deficient, third base was a giant hole. I know you wrote about this in our ongoing series looking at the infield spots, but really, really bad. The only redeeming value I see is I think Spencer Horwitz can probably be a part of this thing going forward, as a former Penguins coach used to say. Other than that, I think there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think if we do want to try and find some positives, I'd say the defense overall was very, very strong. That the third base defense was something that was fun to watch, and seeing the numbers back up the eye test. I mean, 27 defensive run saves from Pirates third baseman, closest with the Royals with 15, and the Cubs had 7. You could just see there were some outstanding things happening at third base defensively, which makes sense considering the Pirates had 3 different third base Gold Glovers there to start the season: Ke'Bryan Hayes, Jared Triolo, and IKF.
Yeah.
Infield defense as a whole was fine. Shortstop IKF overall, he was solid enough. Like, he wasn't great, he wasn't bad. He was solid enough. Spencer Horwitz was, again, a solid defender. Nick Gonzalez, maybe something to be desired, but it wasn't it wasn't necessarily all that disappointing defensive wise, at least. But you're right. With the offense is a completely other story apart from Spencer Horwitz. What do you think about Horwitz? Do you think that the Pirates have something there? Do you think they can go into the offseason and say Horwitz is our everyday first baseman, our platoon first baseman? How do you view him?
Yeah. I mean, I think at minimum, he's a platoon guy. I don't have any problem with him hitting right-handed pitching. I think he's really good against it, with the possibility for more. I think you have to look at how their offseason lines up. Like, it's not my first priority, right? Like, third base is a much bigger issue. Left field is a much bigger issue. I'd probably try to lengthen the bullpen a little bit. If I can get a compliment with Spencer Horwitz, I'd be happy with it. I don't think it's necessary. I would try Joey Bart over there. We've had this conversation. I don't understand. I mean, they've sort of flirted with it during batting practice. I don't understand why we haven't seen it a little bit more aggressively. I don't understand what they're doing behind the plate. And I know that's a separate preview, but like, you're going to have to find playing time for all these guys. I mean, it's the perfect match. But yeah, I mean, if Paul Goldschmidt falls in their laps, that's a good compliment. I would be okay with that. I would also be okay giving Spencer Horwitz the opportunity to earn the job if maybe it lined up, they had an opportunity to spend their money on left field and third base, and it was all gone with those guys, and they had to get a couple relievers. So I'm kind of flexible on it. I like Horwitz. I think he's fine defensively. I don't think he's an issue. He's certainly good against right-handed pitching, and I think some room to improve against left-handed pitching. I like the person. I like the makeup. I like the clubhouse guy. Positive impressions that way. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think definitely at minimum a platoon guy. And something that surprised me when looking this up, I looked at WRC plus. That's one of those advanced metrics that Pirates like a lot, that we like a lot. It's one that you don't necessarily know off the top of your head, but just two Pirates were above league average in WRC plus, and that was your two guys, Spencer Horwitz and Joey Bart. I didn't realize that Bart was above average. I think that his late season surge, I guess, his good homestand probably played into that, but
yeah,
that was something I was surprised by. And yeah, overall with the right side of that infield with Horwitz and Gonzalez, I know we'll talk about Nick Gonzalez in a little bit, but with those two guys, I kind of feel like, yeah, maybe you could ask for a little bit more out of them, but the Pirates have bigger needs. I'm not necessarily concerned if they go into the season with Horwitz and Gonzalez on the right side. I think it'd be more than acceptable, and that's a spot I don't have any issues with them running it back.
Yeah, I agree with you, Colin. Again, bigger fish to fry, right? Like I think we need to have an honest conversation about Nick Gonzalez, and I'll get there. I do wanted to point out the Spencer Horwitz differences in OPS. This is even more striking than I thought. 813 against righties, 593 against lefties.
Wow.
That's pronounced. That's nearing. I mean, it's just one season. His data is somewhat limited, but I do think about a compliment. But anyway,
how many at bats did he take against lefties last year? How often did they let him go against the split?
43 at bats against lefties, 321 against righties. He almost was a platoon guy last year. I mean, that's not a lot against the opposite side. Maybe more, man. I mean, if you dig into Bart's splits, Bart against lefties, it's great. Or, I mean, if you're going to bring Andrew McCutchen back and have him hit lefties, fine. But, I mean, somebody's got to play first base. There's that problem. But, it's an interesting one, man. I just don't understand. Like, the path of least resistance is to just try Joey Bart with the first baseman's glove, and he didn't do it last year.
Yeah, would have been fun to see. Is this the time that Kutch finally takes real first base reps? No. Like, I know he – No. I won't even jokingly put that out there beyond that.
Well, dude, I mean, a couple of years ago, I don't think you were at the PG yet. I wrote a column on it, and I still believe it. Like, I still believe it makes sense. Try him over there. But then I had people saying, like, that's not going to happen. Never, never. So, like, all right, I'll shut up.
Yeah. I think it's worth having that honest conversation about Nick Gonzalez, and I think we could talk about Jared Triolo in a bit. But first, with Nick Gonzalez, I was really surprised to see that he was a negative 0.7 WAR player. That's something that I knew he was fine. I knew his WAR doesn't necessarily match the eye test, because you look at him, you see that he gets on base, or he gets on base. He has a high batting average. He plays fine defense, at least eye test wise. It's not it doesn't necessarily stand out, but he does have the lowest WAR on the team. So what are your opinions on Nick Gonzalez?
I know, man. I know. Like, here we go. Here's player A has a 675 OPS. Player B has a 667 OPS. Talking career numbers. One of them we act like he can hit. The other one we say he's offensively deficient and he can only defend. I'm talking, of course, about Nick Gonzalez and Jared Triolo. Like, they're very similar players, except Triolo is really good defensively and Gonzalez is kind of average. Like, and again, I really like Nick Gonzalez, the person, the player, his makeup, all this stuff. Like, I am willing to trust him and hear him out. And I think he's done a lot of good things. I'm absolutely not trying to crush him. But, like, I kind of need to see a little bit more. If you're going to commit everyday reps, like, the general narrative with Triolo is like he's a bounce around guy. And even the most negative, earlier this season, he doesn't belong on a roster, stuff like that. But like Nick Gonzalez is a future piece. Like, they're combined, their OPS, they're basically the same player. So anyway, I mean, if I'm going to bat Gonzalez in the heart of the lineup, which the Pirates have often done, I need to see a little bit more consistent contact. I don't need to see 20 homers. I don't expect 20 homers, but I'd like 15. I'd like some gap-to-gap power. I think it's in there. So I think this kid has a really high ceiling offensively, Colin. It needs to come around in 2026, or I'm going to try to, do things a little bit differently and maximize how many bats I get in the lineup. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Spencer Horwitz can play a little bit of second base and try to move it around somehow and get more bats in the lineup. I'm not going to roll out somebody who has, a 650 OPS and pretend like they're guaranteed a spot. They're not.
Yeah, they reminded us of that, and Spencer Horwitz can play second base in that last series in Atlanta.
That's
he
right.
started at second base, and we're like, oh yeah, that's a position he's played a lot of. Interesting there. And yeah, with this seems weird to say about Nick Gonzalez, but what I'd like to see is I'd like to see him walk more. He walked 21 times in 400 plate appearances. He doesn't like he played about 100 games this season. Walked once a week essentially.
Yeah,
it's
not good.
It's weird to say I want a player to walk more, and I know we've talked a lot about the Pirates needing to be more aggressive, but Nick Gonzalez is a guy that needs to find ways on base. Walking is a way to do that.
Yeah. I pay you to get on base. Do I care if it's a hit or a walk? No, I don't. Moneyball. Loosely quoted. But I mean, get on base.
Loosely quoted. Loosely quoted. I think it's worth talking a little bit about 2026 now and what they should do with that shortstop position, because Jared Triolo showed some things at the end of this season, but there's this guy that the Pirates have. I don't know if you've heard of him.
He's a bum.
Pretty good.
Get him out.
Pretty good baseball player is the guy I'm talking about. Number 1 overall prospect in baseball, Konnor Griffin.
Yeah.
Coming up to, in theory, play shortstop for the Pirates. I don't necessarily think that he's going to be here as the opening day shortstop. I think he hasn't played above Double-A. I'd like to see him at least show that he can be successful at Triple-A as well. Let him have some reps there. But Konnor Griffin is going to play into the calculus at shortstop and in the infield in 2026. What are your expectations for him in his debut year?
Yeah, I mean, I would love, Colin. I would love for the Pirates to extend him this offseason and get him up here and have him be on the opening day roster and have it be a bit of a surprise. And whatever, you're showing that commitment toward keeping players here. And if there are lumps, I have full confidence that Konnor Griffin would be able to weather them. I've also been around the Pirates enough that I'm not going to get my hopes up that it's probably going to be Triple-A to start, and then we'll see you in June, which is also fine. But yeah, it would be a lot of fun. I think it would help them. I think it would generate some optimism if they would extend Griffin. I am really excited to see this kid play and work every day. You follow him on social media. I do too. We both follow his dad, I'm sure. Like, he's already shown videos of him, working out and swinging. It's just a great person, kid, drive, athleticism, like literally every tool you would want in the toolbox. So, I mean, my opinion, shortstop is his. It's just a matter of when he takes it. And in the meantime, like, I'm probably fine rolling with Triolo there. I have no problem with what he's done defensively. he adds value. I know shortstop was the lowest of his 4 positions in the infield defensively. I don't care. I don't have to make a move. He doesn't make a lot of money. He can keep the seat warm for Griffin. When Griffin comes up here, I'm absolutely fine with Triolo as my bounce around utility type. And that allows me to spend money on third base where they're offensively deficient. So that would be my plan. What about you?
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I think that Triolo he does enough defensively that he's never going to be absolutely worth a zero. He's always going to be someone who's decent enough to have on the field. And if he hits, look at that. You've got a pretty solid player there. Another of the stats that surprised me, looking at WAR totals again, Jared Triolo led all Pirates position players in WAR this year, according to Baseball Reference, 2.4. Obviously, a lot of that is defensively, but when he hit as well as he did in the second half of the season, I'm trying to pull it up here. Batted 276 after August 1st, 4 homers, 12 doubles, and a 775 OPS. That was a solid baseball player. Again, I know Jared Triolo has shown this before. I know I wasn't on the beat when it happened, but I know he's made a bit of a habit of these late season surges. But I don't necessarily mind him keeping the seat warm. And hey, if something clicked for him and he ends up proving that he's someone who should be playing anyways, that's a good problem to have. I'm fine with having that conversation if we get to a point where both Jared Triolo and Konnor Griffin are worth having on the field. But that's a June conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's on your team. He could be a 2-time Gold Glove winner and deservedly so. So I'm talking about Triolo, of course. I mean, he, is 100% a part of this thing. It's just a matter of where he ends up playing. And I mean, at this point, I don't know who plays shortstop if it's not Triolo. Like, did they go out and sign somebody? I don't know. If you need to add offense, shortstop's generally not the best position to do it. You have a greater pick of it at third base. I know we'll talk about that in a minute. But, I think the path of least resistance is Triolo.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really good transition to what we're about to talk about with some offseason signings and who we believe the Pirates should look at in the offseason. But first, a word from our friends at Greenawalt Roofing.
Hey, Pittsburgh. When you think of great roofs, you think Greenawalt Roofing Company. With over 20 years experience, Greenawalt knows your roof is your home's first line of defense from rain, wind, snow, and ice. That's why Greenawalt Roofing's standard for perfection is so important. You can trust that their team of experienced installers will treat your property like it's their own. When it comes to roof replacements, Greenawalt Roofing is Pittsburgh's only choice. Visit greenawaltroofing.com today or call 412-314-8882 to schedule your free estimate. PA contractor number 36262.
So Konnor Griffin is coming to help the 2026 Pirates. That's top prospect, guy who's going to help this team, someone worth getting your hopes up for, in my opinion. But I don't think it's controversial to say that the Pirates need to do more besides just promoting him to help their infield, and they need to do so this offseason. What do you believe that the Pirates need to do this offseason? And really the big question, what do you do with third base, in your opinion, Jason?
I think Bregman is probably the most realistic option.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sign Alec Bregman. I don't know, Eugenio Suarez. No, I'm just joking around. But
Bregman for sure. Makes sense. Yep, do it.
No, so I'm pulling out my notes, and this is like high level nerdiness. I don't know. I'm probably going to butcher it, but from a free agency offseason acquisition piece that I did recently, and I mean, there's a lot of options here. Like, I look at maybe outfielder is what makes more sense to target via free agency, and I think about third base as somebody I can maybe acquire or just find a different way to chop it up and. Mm-hmm. Whatever. And I guess what I mean by that, like Jordan Westburg from the Orioles is somebody who really stands out to me that might make a lot of sense. They might be obtainable. The Orioles clearly have interest in the Pirates' young pitching. They need pitching. There's probably a match there where you trade some of that value in Mitch Keller for a player with, much less of a salary, but has shown some power production. And he can also defend at third base, by the way, but he does have some positional flexibility. Brandon Lau was another guy that I thought was kind of interesting, and talking about first base, second base, little corner outfield stuff. I don't know how that totally lines up, but 2 players with power potential who could help their offense quite a bit. When they're in situations, Lau with the Rays, like, they should be obtainable. If you're going to give to get, the Pirates have some things that would be attractive to those teams. I think you go out and make a trade somehow. I don't think it's realistic to bring in a Suarez or a Bregman as much as I would like to see it. What about you?
Yeah, I looked at it and I agree that a Suarez and a Bregman is very unlikely. I went as far as to say Bregman's just unrealistic. Suarez is someone that maybe won't get as big of a contract as people expect him to. I mean, he's 34. He's only going to get a 2 or 3 season deal. He's a defensive liability at third base. He's someone who's probably not going to hit something crazy. On one hand, you could be like, oh, a short high annual value deal. Maybe that's not as ridiculous as it is. But then again, you look at the Pirates and you look at what they've done in free agency over the last decade, and it's not super realistic, even if the numbers aren't too crazy. Some of the free agents I listed Yohan Moncada, Willie Castro, Luis Rengifo, Ahmed Rosario. Castro would be probably the name that jumps out there among the more realistic guys. But again, I'd say overall, I agree with you. I think that a trade is probably the more likely solution. When you look at the Orioles, when you look at the Rays, I'm going to mention Phillies third baseman Alec Bohm again, even though he's only
everybody loves Alec Bohm, man.
No, he's only on a 1 year, only has 1 year before full free agency, so I don't really know that it makes sense. But I do know the Phillies very much would like to ship him off and try and get a Bregman type. So maybe there's something there, but some external acquisition needs to be made, and whether that's trade, whether that's free agency, it's clear that needs to happen.
Yeah, the Bohm thing. Can we talk about that for a second? I've gotten several emails. Like, what about him? Is Alec Bohm? Is he an option? The Pirates going to trade for Alec Bohm? Maybe. I don't hate it, but I don't think it's worth obsessing over here. It's not somebody that they would have to sign and extend him, right? Or you're just going to have him and it's going to be brief, whatever. I don't know. I'd kind of rather see the Pirates get somebody they can have and grow with for a while. That's why I went with Jordan Westberg, or I don't know, Kobe Mayo's another type or whatever. I don't know, but I guess it's the same sort of thing. I'm doing the mental gymnastics in my head. I'm bringing up Brandon Lau, and it's probably a more natural fit. Boehm's the same type, or Bohm is the same type of player, contract wise. So I don't know. I get it. I just want somebody I want to be able to have somebody in that lineup that they have for a number of years who I know can actually add some offense. If you have, player X at third base, you have Konnor Griffin at short. Let's say Nick Gonzalez amounts to something at second, and then Spencer Horwitz at first. That might actually be a pretty good infield that's going to be around for a while. And I would like that. Bounce back candidate outfield. Let's say O'Neal Cruz figures it out. Brian Reynolds has some offense to him. That's not a bad offense, Colin, or it shouldn't be.
We've reached that point in the offseason where it doesn't look too bad. I see the hope. We've reached that point. No, but I agree with what you're saying. I know that there's some things that on paper don't look too bad. With Bohm like that, I went to school in Philadelphia, so I still have a lot of friends who are Phillies fans. I still follow the Inquirer sports writers and that team's coverage relatively closely. Not a Phillies fan by any stretch. I had that be accused as a Villanova grad. I'm not a Phillies fan. But it just seems like there's a lot of relatively decent players that the Phillies are hoping to get rid of this offseason. And I don't necessarily want the Pirates to be a team that picks up other teams' trash and just looks for guys that are unwanted in various places. But a guy like Bohm or a guy like Kepler, I know he's a free agent. We talked about various guys there. I feel like some sort of trade could make sense, but I don't know. You've been around it for longer than I have. If you tend to have a good read on these things.
I mean, I'm not saying it's wrong. And the Pirates have gone more egregiously dumpster diving than Alec Bohm for sure. It depends on the ask. I'm just saying that I would probably rather, and I'm contradicting myself. I'm absolutely guilty here because I'm throwing out Brandon Lau, who's in the final year of arbitration, whatever. I'd just like to see them come out of this with somebody with some years of control that they could grow with. So I don't know. Maybe I should shush it and we should all get down with Alec Bohm. He's topped out at 20 homers, Colin. Is that enough? He's only been, 4.3 WAR over the past 2 seasons. That's actually pretty good. So, all right, I'm on the Alec Bohm train. Let's go.
There we go. I got you on it. Yeah, it just helped. it would be better than what the Pirates have there. So
sure.
I don't know.
It's hard to be worse. What was the disparity you listed in there? Like the third base WRC plus and then the drop. That's right. 57 is what they achieved. And then the next highest was 73. 100
is average. So they were not only below average, they were, I don't know exactly how it's calculated, so I don't want to say almost doubly so, but they weren't even close to average offensively at first base in WRC plus.
Yeah.
Or at third base, excuse me.
Yeah.
Something that changes need to be made.
Yep.
We'll have coverage all offseason. We'll keep you covered, whether the Pirates sign Alec Bohm, whether they sign Eugenio Suarez, whatever happens, we will keep you covered. We'll be back on Friday with the third episode. We'll be talking about catchers and designated hitter. Thank you guys for watching. We will talk to you guys next time.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.